friends, welcome back to Yeti Set Cook. Today we're going to do something a little different. Have you ever had the need to toast a toast, but you don't have a perfectly good toaster sitting on the counter, but you do have nearly half a ton of sand and clay with about a week to wait? Me too. So this time around I'm going to show you how I built my pizza oven to toast. A quick note here, I am not an engineer or a mason. I don't have experience with making pizza ovens. This is not a perfect guide. This is going to be part 1, so hit the subscribe button if you want to see the whole process and see how the pizza is thrown out at the very end. So to start off, I wanted this pizza oven to be mobile. I don't have a space to build something upon it, and I don't know how much snow we'll get, and I figure it'll last longer if it stays in the garage for the winter. We built this stable 3x4 foot base with 4 lockable casters. Each of these casters are rated for 350 pounds, so we have about 1,400 pounds total, which should be plenty to hold everything and not cause any failures. The first problem is how to insulate the bottom. That's why we built this 4-inch deep box that will hold sand and glass bottles. This took about 4 bags of sand and 30 wine bottles to fill up. I thought it would be a little tricky to source the wine bottles, but thankfully we had a friend of a family member who was willing to give us all that we needed. And we used about 4 bags of sand to fill up this box. Each bag of sand is about $5, and I'll see if I can link a Excel sheet down below with all the costs. We layered the glass bottles in a circle around where the hearth of the pizza oven is going to be, pushing 2 into the center to make sure all the spots are evenly insulated. Looking back now, I wish I didn't just use sand for the spots. I wish I had used a little bit of the cob mud mixture that we'll use for the rest here as well. To make this box more structurally sound, we added these metal brackets to hold the box together. Cob is a mixture of clay and sand, and I found after making a few mixes at different ratios that a near 1-to-1 rate is going to work well for the clay soil that I am using. So we mixed up our first big batch and laid down a 1-inch layer to connect the fire bricks to. This is a key step because it affects how your pizzas are going to go in and out of your oven, so you want to make sure it's smooth and level and spend quite a bit of time here. I found this step a little frustrating as I couldn't get the bricks quite perfect, but I think we got them good enough. I let this dry overnight, and the next day we made the saddest of sandcastles. This is just stamped sand built around a cardboard guide to form a dome. Now let's talk dimensions really fast. The base is 3x4 and almost 30 inches tall in total. The inner diameter of the oven will be 22.5 inches wide, and the dome height is 16 inches, and hopefully this isn't too tall. The door will be 10 inches tall and 12 inches wide. To prepare this dome for the next layers, we wrap it in damp newspaper so that when we dig out the sand, we know when to stop. We are going to build up 3 more layers on top of this dome. The first layer is a thermal mass layer of just cob, of clay and sand, building up about 3 inches. The second is an insulation layer, which will be the cob mix, plus straw and sawdust. This is to give tensile strength and hopefully avoid cracking. This will be 2 to 3 inches. And the third and final layer will be one of a lime plaster to improve weather resistance, and it'll be the decoration layer to make it look nice. So I brought the whole family together and we had a nice fun mud stomping party, which lost its charm pretty quickly. But building up this first layer really wasn't too hard. We made little grooves in this first layer to help the second layer fuse to it and support it. What wasn't clear to me in my research is whether the first layer needs to dry first before adding the next, or if they can be done at the same time. Our first layer seemed fairly solid, so we decided to add them both that same night. It seemed the right side had disconnected and started to slide off. So, to help it dry, we tied a piece of wood to support it and take off a little bit of the weight. Another fuzzy part is how long to wait before digging it out. So I left it for about a week before carving out my door. I decided to build a brick arch for the doorway. This is my biggest regret so far, not because the brick arch is a bad idea, but I should have built the brick arch before doing the dome, so I could have easily connected the two together instead of having this weird sentient mix of clay going around. And this mix of clay I think had too much clay and caused it to crack quite a bit. But this isn't the outer decorative layer, so it shouldn't matter too much. Also, on the inside, it's not quite connected and smooth, so we're gonna have to come back and revisit the inside of this oven to really smooth it back out. After the clay connecting the arch to the oven had dried, I re-carved out the door on the inside and hollowed out the inner dome. This was pretty easy, got most of the sand out, but the hard thing is the paper doesn't want to come out. So I left the paper in to see if I can get it out easier once it's dry, and if all else fails, I think I can just burn it out when we fire it. I used a steel brush to scrape off the fire bricks that had clay on it and get the last little bits of sand out of all the little corners of the pizza oven. This was allowed to dry for another few days, and then I started doing small test fires. None of these got particularly big, as I didn't want to cause too much stress on it too soon. But with these little test fires, we are now ready to finally make our toast. So to make the toast, we're going to take a marshmallow roaster and skewer a piece of white bread, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And I tried it once using the heat from the fire just on the fire bricks after moving it to the side, but there wasn't quite enough heat to actually toast the bread. So on my second attempt, I held the toast directly above the fire, which it didn't get quite brown like a toaster, but it did get crispy and taste like a piece of toast. Now, like I said, this oven is still a work in progress. We have a couple of problems. For example, the inside is starting to crack, so we need to fix that before we fire it any further. The outside is still pretty ugly. We're going to do that lime layer, and we're also going to paint the base so it doesn't just look like a bunch of 2x4s. But all of that we're going to save for a future video, so hit that subscribe button so you get a notification when those come out. Also, if you have any ideas on pizza doughs or how to make a pizza in this thing, as I have no experience with it, leave a comment to how you like to do it, and we'll try some of those out. And hey, thanks for watching. Check out another one of my videos.